like
just
like
hot mic drop.
The knockdown reference, but
yeah, just the hot mic drop is good. That's good right there.
Fair enough. We'll put it on the hot mic, and then we won't forget.
Welcome to the Sportz Phenz show, the show where just like you,
No, you definitely have to put it in the chat because I want to
sports.
see what Mike thinks.
Yeah, fair.
Because we've been putting a bunch of parodies.
Right. I'll circle back. If it's good enough, I'll remember it. I'll circle back.
No, man, you got to put it in there now because it's good.
Super Bowl 50.
It's gold. You don't put gold back in the hills. You take it out of the hills and you keep it, or you sell it and get money.
Now here's your hosts, Arthur
It seemed like a
Knight.
reference at first, but then you lost me.
I'm just giving free game.
Oh, okay.
I'm just giving free game.
That's all you do.
1-0.
Too much free game.
You know how they say there's gold in their heels?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right,
But
okay.
when there's gold in their heels, you go get it and bring.
Yeah, you don't put it back. Yeah, I get it.
Okay, all right. Welcome to the show. We are live. Welcome to the Sportz Phenz. I am Arthur Knight, and with me tonight is Mr. Ryan Lagan. What's going on, my friend?
It's good.
Oh, man, how was
we
your
doing?
turkey day?
It was good. It was, as a Amazonian, it was short on the turkey and heavier on the
day.
Yeah, exactly. But it was good.
That's a shout out to Amazon right there. Hey, I was gonna say at least you got time and a half, but we don't get
Nah.
that. I mean, yeah. Anyway,
No.
I'm not going down that
Yeah,
rabbit hole.
that's a rabbit hole we don't have to go down. Too long, too deep.
Too deep, and there's a PTSD kind of attached to that a little bit. Oh, but man, we are coming to you live from 4300 West Alameda High Studios, and we are coming to you live, man, from Denver, Colorado, and we're being brought to you by IMV Vision. IMV Vision is devoted to offering affordable and fashionable eyewear. IMV Vision is your eye care advocates. Their goal is to provide all with the education and awareness needed to make an informed decision about your vision and health. They are located off Alameda and Buckley in Aurora, Colorado, so you can call today at 720-762-4290 or book online at invvision.com. They take most medical insurance and Medicaid, so call or book today, 720-762-4290 or invvision.com. That's 720-762-4290 or invvision.com. INVvision, we see you. All right, man. So we got a lot to get to, bro. We're going to talk some Broncos controversy. We're going to talk some pack. Is the pack back? You know what I'm saying? We're going to, Ryan's going to touch base on that. That's his squad. I'm going to try to see, where we're at. Because, I follow that team a little bit, but, he's got a deeper dive into that. We're going to talk about, the Nuggets. Joker might be an alien. I think Jamal might be a clone of himself from when his first 3 years. I'm calling that dude. I don't want to call him anything with Magic because this Magic Johnson, but sometimes this dude be making shots that are just like Mr. Magic. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stick with me, Mug Murray, or we can stick with the blue arrow, whatever.
As
y'all.
you say, he brought that Sully back. It's been a while, right?
Bro, he said, I was like, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
He's back. He dropped the 52 burger on him. He's back. And then we're also gonna get into Bo Nix and all of the trimmings. We're gonna talk everything. But first, man, let's talk a little bit of Broncos, and a little bit of NFL. The Broncos on Sunday night. I want to say they showed up and showed out, but that would not be true. But I got to ask you a question here, Ryan, because I posed this on our Facebook chat, and I've only gotten one response. Fair enough. But the one response said, you know what? The Broncos are winning. Who cares? So, hey, I get it, but I still want an answer to this question. At some point in time, when does a 9-game winning streak and winning by small margins, coming from behind and winning by small margins, and having a 10-2 record actually has become a skill and not so much luck?
Well, the nerd in me is going to talk to you about probabilities and regression to the mean and
oh, please, let's nerd out.
Fun things like that. Ask the Chiefs would be my response to that. If you look at I know we talked about this a few weeks
Cold-blooded
ago,
response, right?
But yeah, I mean, the 12-0 in one-score games last year and 0-7 in one-score games this year. There's an element, yes, of, if you are a clutch performer down the stretch, if you take advantage of opportunities, if you, execute well in the fourth quarter in, the different scenarios that presents that you don't necessarily encounter the rest of the game, there's an element of having a higher likelihood of, winning those kinds of games. However, NFL, any other sport, there's always going to be, this ball bounced this way off of a tip, or, the big gust of wind on a 40-yard throw, or, the right play call for what the other, side of the ball was
That's
calling
sports,
or
man.
not. Yeah, there's always going to be this element of luck where, and granted, just because you've had a streak of good luck, it's a fallacy. Like you have just as high likelihood of getting the good break next time as he did the time before, regardless of what happened the time before.
Well, last year these games were not going to the Broncos. They were losing these games.
Right, and that's where the regression to the mean thing comes in. Every individual case, you're no more likely or less likely to have it work out. Overall, yes, if you're due, you're going to eventually see, a good break. If you're due, or vice versa. Mm-hmm. The problem is if you get too much into these, close calls over and over and over again, all it takes is one of those to not go your way in the playoffs. And
you mean like in the Super
Bowl? End of your season, right.
Like in the Super Bowl last year?
I mean,
KC ran into a team that could actually play a complete game,
and that was enough of a dominating performance where luck and those little execution things weren't going to bail them out. Of course, they ran into a better team.
They ran into a team that can play a complete game in every facet of the game, all three levels.
Right. So, and to be fair,
last year,
when you're a strong defensive team and a still maturing offensive team, to put it nicely, the Broncos, you're going to have a lot of these types of close, could go either way type of games because the defense is just not going to let you be out of any game, essentially, no matter how bad your
and
offense
it travels.
plays.
Defense travels.
Right.
Offense doesn't really travel away from your home stadium. It's hard to hear in a foreign stadium or the opponent's stadium, but defense, they don't need that, man. They do hand signals at home. They do hand signals away.
Yeah, right.
It does not matter. Why? Because at home, the home crowd is yelling during the time that they're on the field,
right,
in full throat and as loud as they can be. So you can't be like, hey, check left. You can't. I mean, homeboy is not going to hear you, and he's 5 feet away from you.
Sure.
It's deafening. I don't know if you've ever been even on a high school field. The closer you are to the field, and depending on the stadium, that noise travels down. In the Broncos Stadium, the Seattle Stadium, all of these stadiums are created for that to do that exact thing. So defense travels, right? Defense travels. But here's the thing, okay? So here's the thing in Denver over the past few days, the comparison of who's better right now with their second-year quarterback, New England or Denver. Mm-hmm. And Bo Nix has been kind of getting crapped on. He's really getting crapped on. Drake May has won more games than him, has been to the playoffs already. Because Bo Nix has done both of those things. He's got the most wins out of everybody in his draft class. Now, he has had a favorable defense, a top 3 defense both of his seasons.
Right.
That's favorable for a quarterback. Drake May didn't have that last year.
Sure did.
He didn't have that.
No.
He barely has that this year, so I'll give him that slight edge on that. They do have a good defense, but it's not the Denver Broncos defense.
Sure.
So I'll give them the slight edge on that. And I really don't want to take anything away from New England because I actually like that team. Mm-hmm. So I'm not trying to crap on them at all, and I hope this doesn't come out that way.
Just an accidental crap.
I mean, if it comes out that way, it comes out that way. F your team. I mean, y'all know me. If you've watched this show, you know I don't care about your team. But I do like the New England Patriots. I like the way they play because I'm a football fan through and through, even before I'm a Broncos fan or anything else, just like I'm a basketball fan before I'm a Denver Nuggets fan. So when it comes to the way teams play, I like the cut of their jib, for lack of a better term. I do. I like the way that they play as a team. They rely on their run game. They play complementary football. They play well in all 3 levels of the game, special teams included. They have a good kicker. Like, they have everything that you need to win. Does that team scare me as a Denver Bronco fan? Not really. For only two reasons. One, the Denver Broncos do have experience. This team has experience on their side when it comes to now I still don't want to have to go play at Gillette, period. I do not want to have to travel and play at Gillette. I'd rather them have to come here. But the Denver Broncos last year made it to the playoffs. Now, they lost, but that's experience.
They got experience getting their butts whooped by Buffalo.
They got experience making it to the playoffs.
But, yeah, I mean, you've got...
That in itself is experience.
I get your point with that, yeah. And Sean Payton, obviously, has been there and done that. And
right.
From that angle, Mike Vrabel's been there and done that too. Maybe not, like as a head coach. Like, yes, they got a 1 seed in Tennessee, but they didn't make a deep run when they did that for sure. But,
right.
Both of these teams haven't necessarily won in the playoffs historically, and that's going to be new for either one of them if they want to make a deep run.
Yes. I'm not talking about that they have experience in winning in the playoffs. You make a very valid point in that. I'm only talking about they have a little more experience just going to the postseason, period. Because everything that New England is able to do right now in the regular season is going to get taken away from them in the postseason. You are going to have to learn how to win differently. Now, the Broncos are going to too, and they did get their butts whooped. That's a deep lesson that you have to be prepared. You want home field advantage, right? They learned that too last year.
Yeah.
So right now they're ahead in the game. They're number one in the league, number one, number two, depending on how you look at it.
But they control their destiny. If they win out, it's their 1 seed, right?
And if they beat
shout out to Vegas for that, by the way. That's why.
Thank you. That brings me to my second point. Great segue right into my second point. If the Broncos win this Sunday and beat the Raiders and tie with New England, that is the tiebreaker right there, because both of them beat the Titans, right? I believe, who else did they have two or three other common wins.
I think the Cowboys, is that right?
I want to say that's correct, but I'm drawing a blank. I had them in my head like literally 15 seconds ago, and they're gone. But there are at least
pull it up. I was looking at
there
this the
are
other
at
day.
least
Yeah.
3 teams that they have common wins with, but the one team that they don't have a common win with is the Las Vegas Raiders. And where's my fart sound there, Vinny? We've said it now twice.
So yeah, the Titans.
The Titans?
And I think the Jets and the Bengals, and then the Raiders. Yeah.
Yes. So, but the Raiders beat New England.
Week 1.
So they did beat New England, and I'm not saying that as a slight to New England. They lost to that team.
Right.
So if the Broncos beat the Raiders this Sunday, and they tie with New England at in Week 18, then the Broncos will be number 1.
I think
if they're tied at number 1 and number 2.
I think even if they lose to the Raiders, because it'll still have a better win percentage, and I don't think that they have any. Well, actually, sorry, the Patriots do have the Jets down the stretch still. So if they lose to the Raiders and the Patriots beat the Jets down the stretch, it would go to a different tiebreaker. I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah,
it would be a common conference, right?
But they can clinch that tiebreaker by beating the Raiders, right?
Done.
Yeah.
Done with the tiebreaker. Yeah. As long as they win out or not win out, but you know what I mean. As long as they tie with them, they will have the number 1 seed. Period. And that to me is why, or is the keys to why this Denver Broncos team is a little bit, or has a little bit of advantage, or a little step above Drake May and the New England Patriots. Now, Drake May is going to be a problem. He is going to be a problem for years to come, as long as that franchise doesn't – I almost cussed. As long as they don't mess it up.
Yeah.
As long as they don't mess it up, Drake May is going to be a problem in the AFC for a good 10, 15 years. But so is Bo Nix. Honestly, he has better numbers than every single person that was drafted, not only in his draft class, but that was drafted above him, period. Has more wins. And yes, again, he has had the benefit of a great defense. But how many rookies have the lowest amount of like interception to, even with his interception per game the last 3 or 4 games, his touchdown to interception ratio is impeccable. Like, it really is. His QBR is not great. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat that.
Yeah,
his
right.
QBR is not great, and I would argue that he had his most complete game this past Sunday, and his QBR was like 83 or something like that.
Yeah,
like 83.7.
I mean, there were ups and downs. They got cold in the fourth quarter when they could have put the game away on a few different drives there, and I think Bo Nix does well the things that Sean Payton values, and that's why he picked him. Right, he doesn't take a lot of sacks.
He makes smart decisions.
He protects the football, and he doesn't take risks until he has to, really. And it's sometimes to a fault, right? Because the offense will get stagnant until they're down 20 to the Giants in the fourth quarter, and he's got no choice but to take risks. And then he can hit more of these throws than sometimes he's even allowed to look at in the play calling the way it seems.
Especially when he's being tackled to the ground and still throws a sidearm pass.
Incredible pass for sure.
Like, bro.
Yeah.
And I got to bring this up because I know he's your favorite guy, and then we're going to get into the pack, okay? I promise.
Okay.
We're going to get into the pack.
Take your time. It's fine.
I just want to get your blood boiling for just a minute.
Of course you do. Why does that not surprise me? Go ahead. Whatever it is. Let me hear it.
When we used to work together, every time I would bring up this man's name, the fire behind Ryan's eyes. Just to bring up his name, Mr. Nick Wrong, or excuse me, Nick Wright. So this guy is trying to just like crap all over Bo Nix. I don't know if you saw in the thread.
I didn't get the chance to watch the video.
Oh,
no.
man, you should have watched that video,
Yeah.
man. He said that Bo Nix, and I'm paraphrasing, but just to sum it up from what I understood it, he's trying to say Bo Nix is the weakest link on the Broncos chain.
Interesting take. If you want to
Hold on, let me see if I can just play this. I want to see if I can get the audio because
Sure.
I want you to hear.
Sure. Well, while
Yeah.
he's looking for this, the backstory to this is that we were talking about Nick Wright in the context of the Celtics NBA Finals run, and I made the joke. I'm barely exaggerating, but basically, like, if you were watching his show during that run, I think when the Celtics were up 3-0 in the NBA Finals, Nick Wright was still picking Mavs in 4. So that was the reason for the ire there.
Oh, I can't stand him. I don't like him either, so I don't want to just put that all on Ryan so it makes it seem like, oh, Ryan just hates Nick Wright. No. I can't stand his ass either. Let me see if I can get this to play, though. Hold up. Not that I want to hear his voice at all. I'll be completely honest with you.
Yeah, you're giving him the airtime now. This is you empowering him. That's all I'm saying.
I know, and I can't even get the audio to play here. Hold on. Is it this guy? Here, let me see. Nope, it's not. Okay. I can't get the audio to play, but regardless,
we're live, ladies and gentlemen.
I think this is a quote from him. I think it's been fair. His numbers are what his numbers are. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's a comment of whoever posted this. Never mind.
There you go.
Scratch that.
Okay.
That just shows the idiocy of that person.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, I think I summed it up very well. Ryan, go ahead and check it out when you get a chance.
Sure.
and just play the
Sure.
video. It's because I have everything on silent because we're live that I can't get the audio.
But,
so I'm like,
yeah, so here's my take on this take.
Uh-huh.
I'm not necessarily, I think it's harsh, but I see why he's making the point. Like, obviously the defense, we've talked at length about how it's the strength, and as a quick segue, give Washington credit where it's due. I mean, they had a backup on the field in Marcus Mariota, and the only way you really break down that defense is to do exactly what they did, which is you string together 15-plus play drives
and don't let them change out
on multiple occasions the way that they were.
They did that muddle huddle stuff.
Yeah, they just took what they gave them. They got the ball out super fast so that they couldn't get to Mariota, and they just dinked and dunked all the way down the field without making mistakes, with the exception of, I think he threw one pick, right?
Right.
And it kept them in the game, and it kept the Broncos offense off the field, and it gassed that defense out. You could see how it gassed that defense out. I mean, that's the only real way that anyone has found to get consistent success against them, unless you have the elite playmakers that can win, matchups with, not only having a number one that, you can isolate Pat Surtain defensively, but, that can go up against Riley Moss, etc. Anyway, what I was going to say was, I think the wide receiver room has grown a lot for Denver this year. There's more depth than probably a lot of people nationally thought there was going to be going into the season. I think there was some talk in training camp in Denver around, the promise
especially
of
Bryant.
Yeah, Pat Bryant, Troy Franklin taking a step forward, obviously. I mean, just being in a position where you could afford to trade Vele in the first place, right?
No doubt.
Speaks to the leaps
and we
and
all
bounds
question
they took.
that. We all question that, including myself. We all question that, whoa, are you sure that's what you wanted to do?
Right, absolutely. And I think before the J.K. Dobbins injury, I would have probably agreed with Nick Wright on this one, as much as I hate to say it. I think the running back room I still have more questions about. I don't think
that's where I would put the biggest question mark. It's not Bo Nix. Bo Nix is a gamer.
Right.
And yes, defenses are basically, or coaches are taking away his weapons, especially Sutton. They're taking him away and forcing him to utilize his other weapons.
Right.
And most of it has been late in the second quarter and fourth quarter, but he is utilizing those weapons in what these defenses are giving him.
Right.
But to outright say he is the weakest link is a bridge too far for me.
Yeah.
And that's where Nick Wright always he always says something and it's like, you know what, that's profound. And then he says something like that and it's just like, this dude is dumb.
It's hot take media. He's got to take it, one or two steps beyond where most people would actually agree to get people like us talking about it and watching the video and stuff. I get that. But I mean, if you really want to break down the question, who's the weak link? I mean, you've had one productive game from Evan Ingram, nothing else from any of your other tight ends as far as consistent production.
Right.
And then basically, 2 productive games from RJ Harvey between last game and the Bengals game, and nothing else from that running back room outside of J.K. Dobbins, essentially.
Right.
So,
right.
I mean, Bo Nix, yes, has had his ups and downs, but he has had plenty of ups mixed in throughout the season.
More ups than downs.
That the running backs and the tight ends, again, outside of Dobbins, can speak to as far as ups they've had this year.
He made key passes in that overtime game. Yes, the touchdown was scored on a 15-yard run or something to that effect.
Sure.
Or 11-yard run, excuse me.
They marched down the field though, and
he made those passes.
Yeah.
You could hear him hitting the pads, like the shoulder pads.
Yeah.
He was a marksman in that drive.
Yeah.
He is a gamer. Now, he does have some desire between, the first quarter and the fourth quarter. There's a lot to be desired. There's a lot. It's his second year though, and he hasn't. There's been a bit of a sophomore slump because he was a lot more accurate last year, in my humble opinion, just by the eye test. Maybe not by the numbers, but just by the eye test.
He sees me going to the numbers. He
that's okay.
Qualifies it.
That's okay.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I mean, please bring up the numbers because I don't think the numbers do.
No. You're right. He was touch over 66% completion percentage last year. He's at 61.5 or so this year. So there's definitely been a drop off there.
This year it seems like there's a lot of passes going over heads. There's a lot of passes that are short. There's a lot of passes behind. I think there's a part of that is his timing and rhythm with new receivers like Ingram.
Yeah.
The only one that he seems to have the best, or the two that he has the best timing with, are Sutton and Franklin.
Right? Yeah.
But that's because he came out of college with Franklin. I think that's that dynamic.
Well, that's why they went for him in the first place.
And then Sutton is his security blanket.
Right.
That's why they re-signed him, right?
Yeah.
Bryant has started to emerge a little bit. A lot of bit, actually. But the thing is that I do not – the only thing I don't agree with that take is that Bo Nix is the weakest link. Yes, he leaves still a lot on the table,
right.
And there's going to be some growth. There needs to be some growth from him, especially next year. I do think you'll see that, barring any – I'm not even going to say it because I'm not trying to put that in the ether. But barring any
you say that way too much, man.
Negative actions that could happen. I could see him making a very huge leap because we see glimpses of it like in the Cowboys game and, these games where the offense does score a lot and that drive to beat the Commanders. That that put a lot of pressure on the Commanders' offense and a second-string quarterback in Mariota, right?
Mm-hmm.
That puts a lot of pressure on them that the Broncos they won the toss. The Commanders did. And wanted the offense. That was so disrespectful. I don't think people realize how they were like, we want to kick off that way.
Right.
Number one, there was something wrong with that.
Yeah,
it wasn't corrected.
He tried to like, you get one or the other. You get kickoff or receive, and we defend this way or that way. And he was like, I'm gonna pick both. Yeah.
The refs let that go.
I think they cleaned it up afterwards. I don't think they obviously they didn't catch it in the broadcast. I think he was just caught off guard. Like, what did this dude just say?
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Right.
I think the ref did pause a little. He was like, what?
Right.
Anyway.
they were talking about this in the broadcast. You think Washington should have taken the ball right away?
They should have.
Yeah.
That would have been your only way to win, to be honest with you, to beat that defense. You said it. That defense was winded. They were winded, and they had just come off the field.
Mm-hmm.
They had literally just come off the field from that drive from when they tried to win it with a 2-point conversion.
They did go down and score 6 anyway. I know you're gonna say like, oh, it was PI on Surtain. Offensive PI on Surtain on the touchdown.
2 of their touchdowns had offensive pass interference.
Mm-hmm.
The one where he caught it with the one hand that everybody keeps revering as a miraculous catch. Nobody seems to mention his hand was holding the pad like this.
Yeah, I don't know. That was one of those like hand fighting both ways.
Nah, that's not hand fighting. Having your hand on his chest. Now, if he had his hand open and on his chest, I have nothing to say. I have no leg to stand on. But he was grabbing and holding him down so that he could bring himself higher to grab the ball. I don't care what anybody says. I will argue that you should not have a grab.
Fair.
Hand fighting is hands on. Like if they're smacking each other's hands away, hand on the chest, even a hand on the shoulder pad. Yeah, they're that little pitter pat.
Right.
I do not mind that. That's hand fighting. If he gets the catch miraculously with that, that's fine. But holding him down so that he can't catch the ball make a play on the ball, that's pass interference.
That was like that dude's 3rd career catch. Okay, he doesn't know the rules. Leave him alone.
I don't care. let me put it in this perspective. Let's say hit the defender's hand, because right now I'm drawing a blank on his name. Let's say the defender's hand.
It was Riley Moss, I believe.
Right, Moss.
Yeah.
Let's say his hand was in, let's say it was reversed, and he grabbed the receiver's shoulder pad and pulled him down and was able to make this miraculous interception with one hand, right? And they call that would be pass interference. I'm sure that would be pass interference.
I'll have to look at what angle the ref had on that one.
The ref was literally standing there.
Okay.
Like standing there. Look, watch the replay.
I will.
I'm telling you, because they've been showing it on ESPN like all week. And
they'd be showing it even more if the Commanders had won, for what it's worth.
They really
at least
would
be thankful for that much, right? Yeah.
The Broncos kind of tempered that down by winning the game, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Right.
But speaking of tempering down, a lot of people have been crapping on the Packers, thinking that the Packers are dead and gone, especially when they had that 2-game lose streak.
I thought we were going to talk about gambling again. Speaking of tampering. Sorry, go ahead.
You and Mike, man, y'all are not letting that go. He's always got a zinger in there for the gambling. No, but the Packers, right? The Packers, they went on a 2-game losing streak, and everybody was like, "Oh, the Packers are the Packers are this. Too many injuries, too many." And I'm not even a Packers fan, but I was like, dude, they're still in it. Like their division isn't like won right now. It's not like the AFC West where the Broncos are slowly game by game creating a gap between them and the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, right? It's tight. It's like a half a game, no more than a game between.
It's a half a game, yeah.
Okay, so and then they go on a 3-game win streak. And now everybody's back on their sack, right? They're like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't have been jumped the gun. And it's like, I want to get Ryan's take, man. Like, what do you feel like your chances are with your teams, the Packers winning their division?
Well, so a couple things here. I think that early in the season, obviously, the hype train came from the Lions and the Commanders game. I think at that point in time, we thought of the Commanders as a very different team because they're coming off of an NFC Championship appearance, right?
Right.
And
they were playing good.
Right. And then I think, a couple weeks later, we lose to the Browns because the defense is elite,
Ooh,
but
I
the
forgot about
offense
that.
was not elite. And we still should have won the game, had a field goal block down the stretch that set them up for their own game-winning field goal opportunity. So we're like, oh, is the offense inconsistent? At least the defense is good. Then we have this 40-40 game with Dallas where it's like, oh, actually, maybe the offense is good, or, maybe the defense is still figuring things out. And I think since then, obviously, there's been some ups and downs. I think the Panthers are better than a lot of people wanted to give them credit for.
Definitely.
At the time of that game, and the Rams game helped show that wasn't necessarily a fluke. Like, I heard a lot of people say, like, oh, what was wrong with the Packers after the Panthers game? If you watch that game, I'm not saying we shouldn't have won that game. We should have. But the Panthers played a very good game. They made it a short game. They possessed the ball
Great
for
game
a
plan.
very long time. They made it as, little, like they got a little bit of a lead and it made it a little bit easier for them to protect it.
And ran the ball effectively.
Right, exactly. And again, obviously the Packers offense continued to struggle. And I think that was the big part of the conversation. You have 13 points against the Panthers, 7 against the Eagles, and it's like, how's this team going to go anywhere? The defense has continued. That Cowboys game notwithstanding, this defense has been nothing short of elite all season. It's similar to this, to the Broncos situation where they've kept them in these games. And the real question about how far this team can go is, can the offense figure their thing out, and find their identity before it's too late and actually help this team reach their ceiling, right? Where
is your weakest? Because is it the offensive line? On offense, because it seems like it's a different. When I start to watch these games, when I do watch Packer games, it seems like it's a different portion of the team that every week. Like on the offense, it's either the QB's not playing very well, the run game wasn't effective, the offensive line couldn't block, but it's different every game.
So I think with the offense, they're one of the heaviest run offenses in the National Football League, which you wouldn't expect with having Jordan Love and having all these weapons and having Matt LaFleur as a play caller. Even that's not always been his identity.
Because he's like a raid offense guy, right? Like spread offense.
He's got some wrinkles for sure, but he's a Shanahan protege. Like he was part of that tree of coaches, right?
So the West Coast offense.
Right. But they've been very heavy on the run without necessarily being super effective with it, right? They get, most games less than 4 yards per carry on the ground, and yet that's, 60% of their play calls, it feels like. And so that's the question that we've always asked is, why don't they throw the ball more? And, Jordan Love is not prime Aaron Rodgers, right? He is prone to making bad throws and turning the ball over. It's not egregious, though. Like, I think the big thing that Packers fans have been asking for is, like, turn him loose a little bit, similar to Bo Nix. Like, don't wait till the fourth quarter to start throwing the ball down the field, right? Like, open the offense up earlier. And granted, Josh Jacobs was elite for us last year. This Emmanuel Wilson kid looks really good in his relief duties, and Jacobs is still effective, when he gets opportunities, right? And I think it's just the philosophical aspect of, like, you're running the ball like you're an underdog every game and you're trying to shorten the game. You've got an elite defense. Let them do their thing. Take some risks. You can't afford to
the
take
Broncos,
some risks.
like
right.
allow your defense to support you.
Very similar in a lot of ways, actually. And so I think it's been interesting because it's not like we're talking about rookie season of Jordan Love. LaFleur's worked with this guy for a few years now, so I think the question becomes, like, what is he seeing differently this year that's made him call play? Is it just he fell so much in love with the success that Josh Jacobs had last year, running for 1,200 whatever amount of yards it was,
right?
That he can't get away from it now. And you could argue, okay, maybe the amount of time they're spending in possession running the ball is why the defense has been able to be so successful. But again, I think the biggest thing is getting that defense a lead so that Micah Parsons can pin his ears back and go get the quarterback, because that's made everybody else better. I mean, the guy is...
That's what they're designed to do.
It's such a game changer. I mean, watching the Packers defense struggle for, I mean, the better part of the last 15 plus years. Outside of that Super Bowl window, they had a decent defense. They've been pretty much below average defense every year since then, up until about last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
But even that defense last year, where everyone was like, "Oh, this Jeff Hafley guy is a much better defensive coordinator. Look how good he is. He'll get a head coach job if he wants it." I mean, everything has changed with Micah Parsons, man. It is actually, fun to watch him go out there, and he's getting a sack.
He's a game wrecker, man.
Every week he's getting at least one, and he's probably getting at least one for somebody else as well, if not more than that. Like
he gives quarterbacks nightmares.
He's in their
man.
face at all the but the thing is, you got to get him the lead so that he can go get that guy. I mean, not that he's not an effective run stopper, but that's where he's at his best,
right. Right.
So it's been interesting to watch. It feels like they're talented enough to be a Super Bowl team, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a
and
matter.
the NFC is wide open.
It's just a matter of putting it together, right? Yeah, the NFC I think is better than people give it credit for.
But it's wide open because they're so close.
It's definitely open, yeah, for sure. And to get back to your original question, and I'm so sorry, I could talk about this all day.
By all means.
About what their chances in the NFC North. Here's the thing: they're down half a game in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, to me, is in that New England and Denver category of great. They've won a lot of games this year. They've beaten people's expectations for sure. They haven't actually proven anything to me yet, right? Like now is time for them to really show what they're made. And granted, they
have one more game with Green Bay, right?
2 games.
2 games. Okay, so they haven't even played yet.
So this is why it's going to be an interesting
and
month.
Y'all haven't played the Broncos yet. We play y'all next week.
It's a very interesting month of football. So on Sunday, Packers host the Bears, and really that's it's pretty much a must win because you got 2 games. If you're gonna get one of them, you got to get the one in Lambeau, right?
Of course.
So they get the Bears on Sunday, then they get the Broncos next week. I will definitely be there, and then they go to Chicago the week after that. So it's really going to be a pretty defining.
Dude, that's a tough 3 weeks.
Few weeks for us. Well, and it doesn't get easier. I think we have the Ravens at the week after that, and then the last week of the year we play Minnesota. It is on the road, but that might be the easiest game we have left at this point.
No doubt. No doubt.
But yeah, these 3 weeks are they're basically
make or break.
They're gonna define the NFC North, right?
Yeah.
And I think again, I like our chances against Caleb Williams coming into Lambeau in December in the biggest game of his career, right? And we win that game. Yes, we play him again 2 weeks later, but guess what? We're up a half game in the division with the tiebreaker at that point. So, everything's on the table. And the Bears' schedule, if I remember right, is not super easy down the stretch either.
Only because it's divisional and they have to play the Packers twice.
Well, they do get a game against the Browns, but they have to play the Niners on the road, and then they have to play Detroit again. So those aren't cupcakes either, obviously.
Nope. Who's actually playing right now?
Yes.
Let me check that score, but keep going.
No, you're good. So I think obviously the conversation with the Bears before last week was, well, who have they really beaten, right?
Why is that always the question? What does it matter? Who's on your schedule and you beat them? That's what you do. You don't get to pick and choose.
Yeah, you got to beat the teams that are in front of you. I get that, but
I hate that. I really do. It bothers me. I don't know why.
It's not just who you're beating, but it's also the way you're beating them too. When you're beating the Raiders by 1 point, right? When you're losing to the Lions by 30, when you're losing to the Ravens, I think Lamar was out that week. I'll have to check, but by multiple touchdowns, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the Bengals are putting up 42 on you with Joe Flacco, right? When you're in a 1-possession game with the Giants. All
right, point made.
So thank you. Okay, but
he's like, I could keep going. I was like, point made.
All that to say, I was definitely impressed and concerned with how well they played in Philly last week. I think there's an element of Philly seems like they're imploding a little bit to that for sure.
Yeah, there's a little more turmoil in the locker room
for sure.
Yeah.
But that was still, I would say, the most impressive game of the year for Chicago. And, that half the battle in the NFL isn't, what your record is at the end of the year. It's who gets hot at the right time. You know what I mean? The amount of times, I mean, the one Super Bowl in Aaron Rodgers' career, he won 10 games in that regular season and did it as a 6 seed in the wild card,
sure
right?
did.
After many years of winning 13 plus games and having a 1 or 2 seed and losing at home in the playoffs as well, right? It's it's when you're getting hot as much as anything. So for them to have their best performance of the year 2 weeks before or a week before we play them
in
for
a
the
make
first
or break
time,
game.
Yeah, that's a scary thought for sure. I still like our chances at Lambeau. Especially Micah. If Micah gets to Caleb Williams early in the game, I'd be interested to see how Caleb responds to that. But I mean, you got to give.
Well, if the Bears were smart, they'd start off just running the ball to neutralize him.
Right.
Like it's going to have to be very effectively because Green Bay can stop the run too. It's not like they can't stop the run.
Right.
But they have been known to allow some runners to get some yards. And the Bears can run the ball. Like they actually are effective at doing that. So I would tend to agree with you though. I think the Packers have a very good chance of winning that division. And just so everybody who is watching right now live, the Cowboys just scored a field goal and the score was just up, but now I'm waiting for my screen to refresh. It is 17-9 Detroit.
I'm actually surprised the Packers are 7-point favorites against the Bears. That seems
I'm not,
high to
because
me.
the Packers are actually a better team.
I think
you
so,
said it
yeah.
in your speech here or in your not your speech, that was I don't know why I said that. Anyway,
My soliloquy.
there you go. That's a good one. There you go, Stephen A.
Yeah.
That was a good Stephen A. pull there. So you said it though that the Bears haven't really played anybody, and they've had a fairly easy schedule up till now because they sucked last year.
Yeah.
That is the way scheduling works. If you don't understand that or know that, depending upon how you ended last year will depend upon who you play the next year. That's how it happens. If you were a first, second, third, fourth seed, you play a first, second, third, fourth seed schedule the following season. It creates parity within the NFL. I think that they do that in the NBA as well. Hockey, they do that in hockey. I don't think there's any sport or professional sports that doesn't do it that way because it creates parity, right? You don't want one team sitting at the mountaintop for decades. Nobody wants to see that unless you're, like dynasty
It
lovers.
makes for
like,
good primetime ratings too. Let's be honest.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it depends on the team.
Right.
But people tend to get sick of it. Like I think the reason why KC is getting so much, and KC fans are like, why does everybody hate us? It's like, dude, you've been at the mountaintop for so long.
Yeah, we're over it.
You're going to be hated. I used to say this at work all the time. It's good to be the king, but sometimes heavy is the crown.
Right.
Like.
Yeah.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And
People
it's
root on your downfall. It happens.
It's the nature of the beast, man. But I hate the Chiefs. Period. When they're on the bottom or when they're on the top. I don't give a damn. I hate that team.
Yeah.
Not more than the Raiders, but I hate that team.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. That's how you know it's not fair weather hate, right? Because we're still kicking the Raiders while they're down. Like that's true hate right there. That's real. That's real stuff.
Team.
Yeah.
I cannot wait till we blow y'all out 50-0 this week.
Well, and that's a good conversation to have too. Like, I'm hearing that Max Crosby might not play. Is that right?
That dude is pissed that he just re-signed a deal with them, and now it's falling apart.
All I'm saying is, if Max Crosby doesn't play in that game,
Bo
and
Nix is about to go off.
Bo doesn't ball out like
Bo's about
that
to
noise.
go off.
He needs to though, because you're not going to get louder noise from the national media than if he does not ball out on a Max Crosby-less Raiders defense.
That's fair, because that's the only one that gives him fits.
Right.
And without him, that's a complete mental block that is lifted.
Yeah. Right.
I'm going to take as many chances as I can. Not to mention he can stay in the pocket.
Yeah.
Like he can literally live in the pocket without having to run for his life.
Yeah. I just think with, again, both the Broncos and the Packers, like both of these teams seem to play up and down to their competition consistently.
So frustrating.
It's very hard to watch.
It's
but,
so frustrating.
It should make for a fun game in a couple weeks though.
Yeah. I wish I was going with you, man, but they've priced your boy out of going to that.
Dude, it's rough.
I went to the Dallas game, and it's just like, when I realized how much that ticket was, I was like, I don't think I'm
I got fortunate that I was I'm I'm facing down my mortality as a 30-year-old charity case for my birthday. It's part of that thing for me. But otherwise,
are you taking your lady with you?
Yeah,
or
for sure. It's gonna be a
Nice.
good time, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, it's actually I'm kind of mixed about it because it's supposed to be like low 50s and sunny, and I was kind of like, dude, a snow game would have been fun. Like,
Yeah, but I don't think you realize that low 50s and sunny.
yeah,
is cold.
I get it. It'll be
cold
a little
here.
breeze. It'll be in the 40s, like for a lot of the game. You know, I get.
And they're
get all
probably going to
that.
flex that game to a night game.
Possibly, yeah.
They're probably going to flex
I think
it to
it's
a night.
I think it's 2:30 right now.
They're gonna
so
flex
it's already
that
in
to a night
afternoon
game, bro.
window, But
Especially if the Broncos win this Sunday.
don't they
and
have to say what the flex is though? I thought
no, they can decide it. They can decide it
because
Monday, like Monday.
right now, let me see. Jeez, hold on, sorry. Right now, the Sunday night game. Oh my God, it's Dolphins and Steelers, dude.
They're gonna flex that game.
Oh no, that's Monday night. Sorry, it's Vikings and Cowboys, which is still not a good game, but it's the freaking Cowboys. Like the
I still
NFL,
think-
they're not gonna. Are you kidding? Jerry Jones
God,
will
I hope
burn
I hope you're
everything
wrong.
to the ground if you flex the
I
Cowboys
so
out of
hope
prime
you're
time.
wrong. You're right, but I so hope you're wrong. But
And
that game would
also-
be so boring.
Also, the Packers and Bears are on Sunday Night Football the very next week, so that's probably part of it too.
yeah, but money is money, man. And if the Denver Broncos are coming in 11-2,
and
right.
the Packers are 9-3 and 1,
and the
yeah.
Packers just beat the Bears, who are right now number 1 in the NFC, and on a hot streak,
Right.
on a hot streak. That's going to be the hottest game going.
It's gonna be a good game, man.
And with the
It's gonna be a
history,
good
with the
game.
history alone of these two teams,
Yeah. Oh,
I
I mean,
don't
they're
think
two
they're
of the biggest fan bases in the NFL. I mean, short of what Cowboys, Steelers, maybe Patriots. But not more than the Packers.
And I know you guys are on Sunday night against the Bears the following night, and
Yeah.
that's a big game.
Yeah.
But I think the Broncos are playing the Chiefs that night too. Let me double check.
And no, aren't they playing on Christmas or something?
Oh, I think you're right. Let me double check that though. I'm looking right now.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, the Denver Broncos. Who is it?
We got some good games coming up, man. We got Rams and Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. They're both 9-3.
Ooh, you got some short weeks coming up. The Broncos are all done with all of that crap.
Yeah,
Thank goodness.
for sure.
Let's see. So no. The Broncos play Kansas City that next. So they play the Raiders this week and they play Kansas City. So if Kansas City wins, and the Chargers lose, right? That's going to be a big divisional game. That's 2 big divisional games. That's a coin toss.
Well, the
Bears versus Packers, Broncos versus Chiefs. Like, that's a coin toss. That really is.
I mean, the Chiefs are playing for their lives every week right now, though. That's the
So I would say that gives the tilt to the Broncos and Kansas City.
yeah. And
If Kansas City wins this week, right?
and they got Houston this week, and Houston all of a sudden looks really dangerous.
That defense looked good when they played against the Broncos.
The defense has been solid all year. If
They're
I
number
recall
1
correctly. It's just a matter of their offense getting out of the way, essentially. But they're starting to put it together, man. And I think what do you call it? Stroud's coming back this week, if I remember right. Yeah, I mean they've been as good as any defense in the league, including the Broncos. They've been really good.
Well,
on
Houston
defense.
right now is number 1.
Yeah.
They're number 1. The Broncos are number 2 or number 3.
Yep. Packers got to be up there too.
And the Packers are in the top 10. I don't know if they're in the top 5, but they're definitely in the top 10. I'd have to look.
You take that Cowboys game out, they're probably top 3, and they're not 2 or 3.
I mean, I wouldn't disagree with that, to be completely honest.
Obviously depends on, like, are you looking at yards? Are you looking at points? Are you looking at DVOA? All those different things. I get that too, but, you know.
Oh, no, I'm looking at the wrong goddamn week. They play the Raiders, they play the Packers, and then Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So Jacksonville is 8-4, but I would probably say that the NFL, and my apologies, I'd be doing that all the time. I'd be looking at the wrong damn portion of the damn schedule.
This guy.
I got to get better at that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Raiders, the Packers, and then Jacksonville. And I would say because Jacksonville is 8-4, that's good. That would be a top tier game.
They look good.
It's
all of a
AFC
sudden.
versus AFC.
You were trying to poo-poo them the other week when we were talking
You know
about
what?
them.
I'd like to retract my former statement because they are pretty good. I mean, I still think the Broncos should beat them, just based upon the Broncos defense, and the Jaguars don't have enough. They don't have enough weapons to beat the Broncos defense. They have a solid run game and they have a good passing attack. But if the Broncos scheme out and make them one-dimensional, they don't have enough weapons on the passing game or on the running game in order to beat the Broncos. I just don't think they do. But they're not a flyover team, like I said a couple of weeks ago. I will give Ryan that. They're not as terrible as I was portraying them a couple of weeks ago. Hey man, I'm self-aware. I could say
all right, fair enough. No, I will say though, while we're on the topic, let's give a little bit of love to Liam Cohen and Ben Johnson. It's hard to coach in the NFL, man. And those dudes walked into Jacksonville and frickin' Chicago, places that are like, I mean, as bad as franchises as you could ever expect to walk into, and first year they both are serious threats in each of their conferences.
And could win their divisions.
Right. It's really
outright win their divisions. That's why the Colts are like panicking right now, because if they don't keep winning games, Jacksonville gonna win that division now.
They looked like a potential 1 or 2 seed a month ago. Now all of a sudden they're in free fall, man. That's crazy.
I mean, it happens, man. When teams start to get film on you and start to take things away, that's exactly my point when it comes to Jacksonville. The Denver Broncos are going to be very tough. That's a top 3 defense that you're facing. They're going to take away the best things you do and make you and force you to do the things that you're not comfortable with. That's what the Denver Broncos do. That is why they have won 10 games. That is why they have won 9 straight. Ain't nobody trying to sugarcoat that the offense hasn't played very well. We've only seen glimpses of what that offense can do. And, Coach Payton gave me a bit of a glimmer of hope, because he said in his press conference today that, and I'm quoting, he said, "You haven't seen anything yet out of our offense." And I believe him, because I said it a couple of weeks ago that I feel like he's been playing coy. They're just trying to eke out, do just enough to put on film of their base, their base offense.
Sometimes I feel like if you gave Sean Payton a megaphone, he'd be quieter somehow.
Bruh.
Like that dude.
He's out there playing chess, though, while everybody else around him is playing checkers. Because I believe him. I believe him, because we have seen glimpses.
The proof is in the pudding, man. I mean, 10-2 is 10-2. I'm not trying to fight you on that.
And we've seen glimpses of this offense be explosive. We've seen some plays, but I don't think he wants to show too much on film for playoffs. I really do. I do believe that. And so when he says you haven't seen anything yet, that just makes a person like me be like, yep, he's been. Look at that play sheet. Have you seen the play sheet?
That's what I'm saying. How many more plays are there? Like, in existence,
It almost seems like they're doing the same plays over and over and over again. It really does. And it's like, well, stop them.
Yeah.
I posted that on a I don't know if it was Twitter or Facebook, but somebody was talking about how the Broncos get referee help and all of this stuff, and it's just like, no, or they keep running the same plays. It's like, yeah, but you're not stopping it. So what is your beef?
Sure.
Stop it then. If you can't, it's just like the tush push in the brotherly shove or whatever they call it in Philly. Everybody's complaining about it. Stop it.
I know.
Come up with something to stop it.
I was gonna say, I know my team is one of the big ones pushing to ban that, but I do have to take your side on this one.
Come up with a way to stop it, dude.
Yeah, if it's like, if it's that bad, like, do it yourself. If it's that, like, overpowered. If you can't do it, then shut up.
Exactly. Speaking of doing it yourself and overpowering, Jamal Murray dropped a 52 burger
Segue
on
man
Indy.
over here. That's good.
Jamal Murray drops a 52 burger on the Indiana Pacers last night. Just kind of, I swear it looked like for Jamal Murray last night, it looked like the hoop was the size of the Pacific Ocean. Like, he could not miss.
Yeah.
The most efficient game shooting in NBA history when dropping a 50 burger. On top of that, the Denver Nuggets have now become the 3rd or 4th team to have 3 players drop efficient 50 burgers in one season.
Mm-hmm.
It is a good day to be a Denver fan, Colorado fan, period. The Denver Nuggets are, 15-6, hottest start and most efficient start of in offensive history for the Denver Nuggets. Jokic is making history. The Avalanche have only lost. Well, I have to check the score for tonight. They may have 2 losses in regulation. I'm going to have to check because they were getting smoked by the Islanders when I came in to do the show prep. But still, even with that, they are in double digits. They are like 20 or 30 games into their season. They have 1 loss in regulation. All of their other losses have come in shootouts in an overtime setting. That is incredible. And then for the Denver Broncos to go from the bottom of the barrel in the AFC West, last place in the AFC West, to number 1 in less than 4 years by just changing their coach and their culture it's an incredible day to be a Denver fan or a Colorado fan. It really is. And I'm not trying to really gloat and shove it in everybody's face. It's just it's when you live through the 80s and the 90s like I had to live through, it's kind of like, wow, we are like the top of the top in every barring baseball. We're at the
Baseball doesn't exist in Denver.
Right now it doesn't exist in Denver.
It's not a real sport.
It's like NASCAR to us right now.
Okay, far be it from me to knock you off your high horse over there.
Yeah, you can't. I'm on cloud 9.
I love to, and I'm going to. What are your thoughts on the recent 4-game home losing streak for the Nuggets?
I was listening to Coach Adelman talk about it today on. I'm not gonna. I'll give him a plug on the PhD show today. I was listening to it while going to pick up my daughters, and he had said. Or no, it wasn't him that said it. But it was during the interview. It was Scott Hastings said it. Mm-hmm. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said there's something to because the Nuggets have had a crazy away schedule, and their away record is impeccable. Mm-hmm. They've only lost 2 games on the road. Mm-hmm. Okay. But he said there's something to having the type of schedule that the Nuggets have had, the away schedule, and then only coming back for 1 game and then having to go 3-4 games away, 1 game. He said when you come home, your whole life changed. Now you're dad, now you're your brother, your son, right? You have like responsibilities when you get home.
This guy. Your 2 nicknames now are Mr. Segway and Mr. Jetlag. Those are your 2 nicknames.
It is a real thing.
Yeah.
And when you're saying from a professional, like he won a championship in Detroit. When he was doing it, they weren't doing a lot of flights. There was a mix between flights and buses during his era. But he said it's a real thing. It takes it out of you, man, when you're away from your family for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then you get home and you're like, you got to catch up on stuff. Or it's just different. It hits different when you sleep in your own bed. Practices are different. Shoot-arounds are different. Film studies are different because you're at home. You get to drive your own car. You're not catching an Uber or sitting on a bus going from an airport to a hotel room. It just hits different. And I think there's something to that. I think there is something to that. I'm not excusing the 4-game loss because winning at home, especially when you have to go up against OKC in the West, mm-hmm. that's gonna bite you in the ass later on in the schedule. Mm-hmm. It really is. That 4-game losing streak at home is going to bite you in the ass, and not even with Oklahoma City. It's going to be more or less with the LA Lakers. It's going to be more or less with the Clippers because they seem to be getting hot now that they fired Chris Paul. And for a second there,
what a joke, dude.
For a second there, I thought about the Nuggets picking him up. I thought about it like, man, because we used that floor general on our bench,
right?
My dude. But anyways, I that thought came and went as quickly as.
You don't want that?
I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I honestly wouldn't, but I don't think I'd have to check. But I don't think the Nuggets have a roster spot for him.
They did him wrong, man. I swear.
Well, they really did. They really did.
They were a couple games from obviously a ton of regular season success during his time there. Could have very easily had a couple of those playoff series go differently. Where we're talking about a Chris Paul statue outside of that freaking stadium,
man.
And you're gonna
Hey, man, I'll put it to you this way: the squeaky wheel always gets the oil, and that's not always in a positive light.
I mean, it's just
Period.
like check your ego at the door, dude. You don't have
Period.
to. You don't have to play him a minute the rest of the year if you don't want to. But
Both
you
of them
know.
needed to check their ego. Both Chris Paul and Coach Lou.
Yeah.
They both needed an ego check,
Right.
but the only one that got one was CP.
Right.
But before we go, because we only got like 30 or 40 seconds here, do you think after Jamal drops 52 and he's having the best season he has had in a Denver Nuggets uniform, the West is stacked in the guard position. Obviously, SGA is going to be an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Hands down. That's one spot gone.
Mm-hmm.
But can you think of 3 more guards that are playing better than Murray in the West right now? So can Murray, if he keeps this play consistently, because he only had 10 points against Dallas, he also got injured and left the game early. He could have been fourth quarter Jamal Murray. But do you think he could make an all-star bid this?
Luka and Edwards, Steph Curry.
Okay. See, I still think if he drops another 50 burger or something and he can tilt the scale. I do think he can get his all-star bid because, number one, Luka is injured all the time.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is injured all the time, but so is Jamal Murray. So that's
I mean, honestly, his best bet, I hate to say it, is he's got to play a lot more consistently as at least. I mean, he's not going to ever be the number one option on this team, of course,
no,
right?
he's always going to be 2.
But sometimes he's 3 or 4. That's the thing. He defer. Like there are these games where he can still find a way to disappear a little bit, and he's been more consistent this year, right?
Yeah.
But with how deep the West is, you're gonna have a hard time
Steph Curry.
overcoming those big names, right? Unless I mean, really, the only path there at this point, I think, is Steph is injured for a significant portion of the year, and like that dude takes good care of himself. Anyway.
Oh, I know all about that.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us this week, man. Thank you for tuning in. On behalf of everybody here on the Sportz Phenz, we appreciate you. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Sportz Phenz with the Z's, and we will see y'all next week. Happy Turkey Day. We didn't get to see y'all last week for Turkey Day, but happy Turkey Day. Hope y'all had a blessing and some dressing. Bam. We'll see y'all next week, 7 p.m. Deuces.